We have 3 people on our panel today, starting down at that end. Grace Willerton was raised here in Los Alamos, like me. She attended Baylor University in Waco, Texas, earning a Bachelor of Arts in University Scholars with an emphasis in psychology. She taught high school in New Orleans and Denver, in special ed, before joining the staff of UNM Los Alamos, where she currently serves as a Student Success Associate and is the main provider of career services on this campus. She has developed curricula for a series of career development workshops and has taught this material as a general studies course at UNMLA for 4 semesters. She has also taught 4 internship co-op courses at UNMLA with funding from the Accelerate Programs grant. She is also pursuing her Master of Arts in Counselor Education program through UNM. In the middle, Ted Lopez is the director of the Small Business Development Center at UNMLA. He is an MBA graduate from UNM Anderson School of Management and a U.S. Navy veteran with 27 years of business experience working for Mountain Bell, U.S. West Communications, and serving the business technology needs of business clients in New Mexico, including Los Alamos National Laboratory. Ted consulted with New Mexico business clients in the areas of strategic planning, marketing, operations, business development, program management, sales, customer service, and technology utilization to start and grow small business. He has developed a vast network of business relationships and resources with small business clients and corporate decision makers in northern New Mexico. And here we have Jessica Nojak. She's the Internship Program Manager for New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions, coordinating the development of an online career exploration portal focusing primarily on internships for employers, students, experienced professionals, and educators. Jessica is a native Virginian, like Darla, and has a degree in historic preservation from the University of Mary Washington. She started her career with the Association of Public and Land Grant Universities in Washington, D.C. Her heart led her to New Mexico, we all like that, where she's worked for the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce, Patrick, we need to steal her, and the nonprofit Innovate and Educate. She's now excited to be utilizing all of her experience with the New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions. And with that, I give you our panel.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having us. We are very honored to be here this morning. Do y'all mind if I stand? Is that all right if I stand? Okay. I'm a teacher. I'm sorry. I got to move around a little bit. It's just in the blood. So I'm Grace Willerton. I do a lot of the academic advising here on campus. I'm also a career advisor. I have a Global Career Development Facilitator certification from main campus, which has kind of authorized me to help all of our students here develop their career skills, their career readiness. We work on internships, we work on resumes and cover letters, we work on soft skills. I also help them pick their major and just look at their whole kind of career pathway and starting to get a lot of the experience and training they need in school before they go get jobs. So I'm going to talk briefly about kind of an overview of internships and give you several reasons why it's beneficial to employers. And then I'm going to give you a few examples, and I believe we're also going to have some excellent examples of actual internships that have occurred and been very successful today. So this is an overview of my little presentation here for a moment. Hopefully we'll have some time for questions as well later. And then of course I have my contact information up here. I will be happy to email this presentation to Nancy so that she can distribute it to anyone who would like it. So definition of an internship can get a little bit tricky. The government, of course, has one definition of it, mainly to distinguish from what an actual employee might be. So it definitely has to be some sort of educational training. The little asterisk over there that says no direct gain for employers, that's heavily debated right now because we do want it to be beneficial for employers as well. It's not just a philanthropic venture for you here. It does have to be under supervision of a regular employee. And then it's not guaranteed to be entitled to wages, nor to secure a position after that internship is concluded. That is completely up to the employers. Again, there's a little asterisk by the wages there because If they are providing a service to employers, it's generally considered appropriate these days to compensate them in some way, but that could be a small income. That could also be, say, class credit, which is very common here at UNMLA. There's an organization that kind of oversees a lot of internships for the colleges, and this is the resource that we use in determining what's an internship for our students. So this NACE organization, their definition is particularly focused on the experiential learning component. So it definitely is focused on giving the students hands-on application of the material that they're learning and developing some of those skills that they're going to need in the workforce. This is kind of my brief general summary of it. We do intend it to be an educational opportunity for students. They're figuring out what this job really looks like, how it really affects people in the world, if they really enjoy it, if it's something they can do for a while. We do hope that it's not looking a little bit like this over in the corner. It should be a low cost to employers. It should be extra hands to help around the office, but we do hope it's a little bit more than just coming in and filing papers for you. So hopefully it looks a little bit more like this. So the NACE organization has some guidelines to kind of structure some of the opportunities that are created for interns. It is designed to be an extension of the classroom, beyond what they're learning in the textbook. So they actually get the hands-on part of it. They get some supervision. They get some training. It is best to have a limited time frame for these internships. It's not meant to be a burden on an employer forever. Just a very short window, very project-oriented, so that the students can start with a project, learn all the important components of it, complete the project, be able to have something for a resume, something to tell other employers about, but also to accomplish something for you as the employer as well. This is where I get really excited. I did a lot of research on this, and I found many sources that agree on a lot of these components. So I hope that you're writing notes on these. One opportunity that a lot of employers struggle with is finding and connecting with the best and brightest students as they're coming out of college. Some of them, particularly at community colleges, kind of fly under the radar. So this is a fantastic opportunity for recruiting those students, for pursuing them and attracting them. There's a little bit of incentive in there. They get some of that experience that they need to be competitive. They like to be able to bring something to the employer as well. It's a way to develop new ideas. If you have one set of employees for a very long time, they all start to think very similarly. If you get some new blood in there, they bring in new ideas. They might bring in new technology, new ways of thinking about things, new ways of using the technology to your benefit, particularly in marketing these days, because the younger generations are likely going to be your target audiences this year, next year, 10 years. They know a lot about that market, and they can bring that to your business. Another really great benefit is the fact that you get to try them out before you have to make a long-term commitment to them. You can test them. You can run them through their trial period. You can train them the way that you want to see your employees work before you even get them hired. They do provide more hands. They provide more opportunities to spread the load of your business around a little bit. It's particularly nice for students, even if they're just focused on one project, to be able to try out different parts of the business, to see different aspects that they might enjoy, they might want to pursue, to get a little flavor of each of those other kinds of tasks. It also increases your diversity. Like I said, it brings in some of that younger blood. It spreads out the generations. It spreads out diversity around our community. It also makes them an advocate for you on campus. If they have a great experience in internships, I've heard this many times, they come back and they say, "You cannot believe what I got to figure out. This is so exciting. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life." And then I get to pass that on to other students. I've done that several times already, particularly with some local businesses here in town who have accepted interns, and they come back and they tell me, "I just got hired full time. Now we're ready for the next intern. Find me another student." So this is a really nice opportunity to continue building that connection around town. it's also a wonderful opportunity for students. I have to say, as a career advisor, this is the #1 thing I encourage students to do, is to get an internship, to try it out, to get the experience, to learn from those who are in the business. You guys are the best resource for what's going on right now. And I want them to get that opportunity. So it can be extremely inspiring and encouraging to see a student come into your office and develop all of these wonderful skills that you want them to have, and then be profitable, to explore, to expand, and even to grow your business with it. It's very, very exciting when I get to hear all of these things come back. So a few statistics for you here. Pardon me. So this is from a lot of research that's been done by NACE and a few other organizations. Many employers these days are looking particularly to their internship programs to pull their new hires. Again, that's one of the benefits of reaching into this pool. You already have some experience with these people. You know how they work. You can tell if you like their work or not. But they also tend to be better prepared because you have trained them. They are what you are looking for. It's very, very common for the students who do their best, and we do try to prepare them as best we can to serve you and to be good, diligent workers. But those who are in internships, many of them who succeed in those internships are offered full-time positions. This is where you get the opportunity to say, I need more employees, and you're exactly what I've been looking for. You've already gotten the training. And most of them are going to accept it. Unless they're moving on to other adventures, say bachelor's, master's degrees, other education, other opportunities, they will still remember this experience. It will still be very valuable to them, and they will likely have a lot of loyalty to that as well. So even if they don't come back and work for you, which a lot of them actually do, they may continue to spread your name around the community wherever they go. So setting up an internship sounds like it can be a lot of trial, a lot of hassle, but it's actually very much like setting up a regular job. So you're going to identify a project. This is a little bit different from setting up a normal job application. It is project-based, but you're still going to think through the particular things that you need in your business. Think of a project, think of all the resources that are going to be needed for it, the time frame, maybe a budget, maybe staffing, maybe space needs, who can oversee this kind of project, give a little bit of mentoring along the way. And then you're simply going to create a job description with normal responsibilities, normal duties, expectations for coming into that program. Advertising and recruiting. Thankfully, this one is not as expensive as most job applications can be. I know it's pretty expensive to post in Monitor and other places around the community, Santa Fe. Connecting with some of the resources in the internship programs, hopefully like we're going to be having set up shortly, is going to be much cheaper. Particularly, you can just email them to me a lot of the times these days, and I can send them directly to the students who might be interested. And then you go through an interview process. You don't have to accept the first application that comes to you. You can process these a little bit. You can sort through them and find exactly what you're looking for. For example, hopefully most of you have heard about the community internship collaboration that was set up just this past semester. This has been a fantastic success for us so far, and we're very excited to hear a lot more about it. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I believe Mr. Lopez is going to do a lot of that as well. So I'll breeze through some of these things really quickly. This is kind of the way it was set up. The businesses did submit projects to us. It was funded by Lionel. Thank you very much. I don't know if they're here today, but thank you. And the schools, both the Los Alamos High School and UNM Los Alamos, connected students with these projects particularly. They had to submit an application, and then they were interviewed by the businesses. Several of them were selected, and they started working already. It's about 60 hours over about 15 weeks, mainly through the semester length. They were paid about $10 per hour, and that was through Lionel's funding. And they also received 1 to 3 credit hours, depending on their workload. We have had 3 complete this process already. 2 of them have been offered regular employment because of those. And we have renewed funding for fall and spring. Renewed funding for fall and spring. Yeah, I was going to ask, you were one of them, aren't you? Oh, yeah. Excellent. Good for you. So we will have renewed funding, so if you have projects that you're thinking about, submit them, please. I have business cards, I have flyers, please come talk to me. I do want to take just a moment, if we have time here, to talk about some interesting trends that we're seeing in the workforce these days. There are 5 generations in the workforce right now. And they have very different views about work and how it works and what you're supposed to do, the expectations for it. One of the largest groups, and going to be the largest group very shortly, is the millennial generation. I'm sure you've all had some interaction with millennials right now. They're kind of the late high school, early college to post-college age group right now. They're children of the baby boomers who all said, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. They are a very, very large number of people right now, and they're entering the workforce in very large quantities. Because they were told you can be whatever you want, they said, I'm going to do it my way, and I'm going to be very individualized about this. I want it to be everything that I'm going to create, and everything perfect for me. So it's very customizable in their world. So the workforce is having to process this a little bit. They usually like to be flexible with some of their work hours. They like to be able to take work home, maybe bring it back a little bit. The work-home life balance is very fluid, which is often why you're going to see them on their phones a lot of the time as well. They will be doing work stuff at home on their phones, and they might be doing home stuff on their phones at work. There's some conflicting feelings from a lot of other generations about this, because that's not how work has been. Work is work, you do the work, you keep working, and then you go home and you do nothing with work. So it's a very strong adjustment for a lot of people these days. But if you understand where these millennials are coming from, it's actually very easy to mentor them to be very productive and very successful students, workers. Monetary rewards are not as important to them. Yes, they love the big bonuses. Yes, it's great, but that's not usually what they strive for. They like to be creating something new. They like a challenge. If they see someone else being successful, they want that opportunity as well. They like to push themselves a little bit. They also absolutely love feedback and praise. This is the generation that has grown up with receiving a participation award. There's no first place. Everybody gets a trophy. They love the praise. They love the feedback. They want to know how they're doing. They want to be better. So giving that kind of feedback can smooth out a lot of these transitions very easily. They are also infused with technology. It is part of them. I actually left my cell phone in my office. I'm so proud of myself this morning. But it goes with them everywhere. It's part of them. It's attached to them. And that can be sometimes a burden because they don't necessarily know how to interact without it. It can be taught. But it's also a benefit because they can bring that knowledge of technology to you, to your business. Try something new. Bring in something you might not have heard of before. There's new technologies developed all the time that I don't even know anything about. But I'm betting our IT guys, the wonderful ones that just came set up all this for us, they know so much, and they have work-study students right now that know so much more than I do about all this technology. And they can bring that to a good business. So some of the best practices for working with these wonderful millennials, because you will. Setting expectations ahead of time, understanding that this is what I expect for my work and my home time, understanding what being on time means. Does it mean coming at 8 o'clock? Does it mean sitting in your chair ready to answer the phones at 8 o'clock? Setting some of these guidelines ahead of time can really help the millennial generation fit in smoothly and know what's expected, and then getting that feedback can help them correct anything that's not quite working yet. Setting goals for these projects also gives them a target. It's that extra little challenge. I know what I need to complete. I can get there. And then giving them to-do lists can be very helpful, very productive, whether it's the day-to-day task that you want, or when they finish those, they need to check on these particular things over here that they do maybe every week or so. It might end up looking something like this, but it will be productive for them. And the feedback, like I said, is extremely important. Checking in with them regularly, letting them know how they're doing, letting them know what expectations might need to be tweaked a little bit. But being that coach, being that mentor, even the one that gives them the participation trophy, that can be one of the most valuable experiences for them, and actually, as I've seen, for employers. That educational part of it, that connection, passing on your knowledge to these students who are just desperate to learn it all, can be extremely rewarding for them and for you. So that's the last little bit that I have. Do we have time for questions, or should we move on and save those for the end?
Save them for the end.
Alrighty, we'll save them for the end then. Again, my contact information is up here. I have business cards. I do have some handouts from the UNM HR representative who has given some presentations on this before on how to set up internships. It goes into a little bit more detail. So if you'd like some of those handouts, I believe we do have several copies of them. And again, I'm happy to send this to Nancy so you can all have contact information and all of this information as well. And my references in there too. Thank you very much. I will pass it along.
Thank you, Grace. Grace started out trying to define what an intern looks like. Okay? An intern and internships can be defined in a lot of different ways, but let me describe it in this way. Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind, so let me show you what a successful intern looks like. Jennifer Trent, would you stand up? Jennifer is a successful intern. She's part of the Accelerate internship program. She's finishing up her program. She's been an intern with the Small Business Development Center this spring, and she is about 4 hours away from completing her internship. And I'm going to afford Jennifer an opportunity to answer questions when we get to that portion. So we're familiar with the Accelerate program. Dixie Keller was also an intern, again through the Accelerate program. So Accelerate has been known here in Los Alamos as a very viable internship program. Of course, the laboratory has their summer intern program, and many students from the high school try to participate and qualify to be part of that summer intern program. You're hearing about CIC, the Community Internship Collaboration, which now has been in, well, we just graduated people like Daniel Roybal, with Cheryl Souter of Finishing Touch, Kim Lopez, working with Kathy Anderson at CB Fox, and Esperanza Tapia, working with Colette Levine of Journey Pacific. Two of them are Los Alamos High School students. One of them is a UNM Los Alamos students. First graduates of the Community Internship Program. As Grace indicated, funding has been continued thanks to Los Alamos National Security, and we're looking for more projects as we move forward now into the summer, the fall, and the spring. So you ask the question, why has it been successful? It's been successful because Jennifer's generation is a generation of what's in it for me. Okay? What's in it for me? What do I get out of the deal? Well, under the Community Internship Program, she gets paid. It's a paid internship. With the Community Internship Program, she gets credit, dual credit, so that she can qualify now with college credits. What else does she get out of it? She's doing something that she's interested in. It's not throwing the trash. It's not serving coffee. It's sitting down, writing out expectations, goals, and saying, this is what I would like to accomplish. Can you do that for me? Jennifer, did you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And was that the focus of your semester?
Yeah, it was. It was project oriented. It was a big project with your guidance. But I was given the opportunity to put a lot of my ideas into it and really make it mine. And it's, I mean, probably one of the things I'm most proud of doing in my whole life. It's just, it's something that I wanted to learn. It's something that I did learn, and so well. And I like to think that I've left sort of a footprint at the SBDC, which I'm also incredibly proud of.
What you hear is ownership. What you hear is commitment. What you hear is she got something out of the deal. Okay? What did the business get out of the deal? Well, it was great for the business because she created a cookbook, a recipe for startup entrepreneurs to help them step through the process of registering and getting a business started. And after they get their business licenses, you know, as Nancy says, come talk to me after you have your business license.
Yeah, right. It's a small thing.
Your world is just beginning at that point. So there's an element of commitment, and there's an element of ownership, there's an element of experience, and there's an element of a deliverable.
And I think also just empowerment. It was so rewarding, and I think really for the first time ever, I got a serious project to do. It wasn't just washing dishes. It wasn't just taking out the trash. It was something that I was trusted with, and that I did, and just learned so much. Was able to do something, and it was for me. It was really, really very empowering.
Jennifer's an accounting major here at UNM Los Alamos. She wanted the experience factor so that when she applies for a job and after they ask what her academic credentials were, and they ask, tell me about your experience, she had something to talk about. But that's one of the benefits of the community internship collaboration, but it also has to start at the top. It's there only because she had to leave, but Cindy Rooney, the CEO of UNMLA, supported it. She's there because Carol Rutten, the acting director at the Community Programs Office, supported it. The Community Collaborative Program is there because the superintendent of Los Alamos Public Schools supported it. It's there because people like Laura Loy coordinated it. And there was a team of people that put their heads together to create a win-win situation. Internships work when people get something out of it. You cannot have non-paid internships and expect them to be successful. They have to be paid. There has to be a reward. Grace talked about experiential learning. It has to be project focused. They have to offer something to the student. They have to be student-centric. So we're looking for businesses that want that kind of a student to come work for them for a semester. Project focused, something that is measurable, something that is deliverable, something that gives something to the business at the end of the semester and gives something to the student. Success is kind of like beauty. It's kind of in the eye of the beholder. Talk to people like Cheryl Souter, what it meant to her business at Finishing Touch. Talk to the people at CB Fox, like Kathy Anderson, what their intern has meant for them, or the people like Colleen Levin. Talk to those employers that have received the benefit of a very viable, collaborative, and owning intern. And Jennifer, thank you for your comments. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jessica.
Move the mic over.
First, I want to apologize. I had the flu last week, and the cough is the end, but sometimes it is very hard to control, so it does not do anything, unfortunately. I wish it did. But anyway, I'm excited to meet all of you here today. As Nancy's kind introduction followed, I I worked in higher education in the nonprofit sector, and then I've had the opportunity to work in the business community at the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce. So I've been able to kind of bridge this divide that's going on between educators and the employer sectors around hiring, especially new and younger job seekers, and a lot of the issues they're having around having the experience but then not being able to get a job for the experience. With the way the economy is today, a lot of those first jobs are being taken up by people who have been unemployed, and so they're taking those jobs. And then there's also this talk going on about the need for soft skills and the lack thereof among young job seekers. And unfortunately, that is something that's not measurable to the education community, so they don't know how to do that exactly, and requiring an internship is not something that they're ready to do for most college departments. So an internship is this amazing opportunity that can bridge that divide and give the employer the opportunity to say, okay, this is a job with a learning objective, and we're going to start teaching these young job seekers the soft skills that they need to be successful in the workplace, and to provide us with the right kind of employees. And it kind of takes that a little bit off the back of higher education, where they don't really have the resources anymore to add that on to their already super heavy load. So I'm excited as a part of Department of Workforce Solutions. Something that was kind of coming up to the surface within Albuquerque in particular and central New Mexico, there was this nonprofit called Mission Graduate that was created out of a United Way grant. And out of Mission Graduate, the original mission was to increase the number of graduates, whether it was high school or college certificates, within central New Mexico. But what started happening, because a lot of employers were involved, was they were talking about all the issues that I kind of just gave a little preview of. And they were like, this is really important, and it's beyond just increasing graduation rates, because the future of a graduate is their job. So what can we do to help also improve that within New Mexico? And so they started to realize how important internships were. And we started putting together these materials, and I did, within some of the stuff that you received today, passed out kind of like little booklets on how to create, internships or career exploration opportunities within a small business or a larger business, because we do understand that each level has different challenges, particularly financially and with resources, and how to put those together. And then as we continue to develop these materials, we realized that there's this huge gap in creating a place where everybody can come together within the state to talk about internships, what they mean, how to create the programs, where they can be posted for all the students and job seekers to come and see them. And then also for educators to come and see, what they can do to better educate the community about the students that they have for internship opportunities, for employers to connect with the higher education community and beyond. So what has happened is Department of Workforce Solutions and Secretary Bussey and Deputy Secretary Joy Forhan have come together with the employers and the higher education community to create a portal, a central online system where everybody can come together, get this information. The employers can post their internships just like they're posting jobs within the Department of Workforce Solutions system, only without the complications of the way it looks when you actually go into the system. I don't know how many of you are actually using the system to post job opportunities, because there is a whole section for employers to do that. But it does kind of repel sometimes employers and students from even searching because it seems very complicated. You get this table with a million tabs and you don't even know where to go from there. So we're going to be working with CNM and students at CNM to create this portal, which is really exciting because we're going to get the student feedback, but in the future we also want to get the employer feedback as well. So as we've started developing this, just so you know, we're in the beginning discovery phase, and we hope to have that completed by June, and then by October we hope it's like live and everyone can get really excited about it. And but as we're developing it, we also want to find those opportunities to get feedback from the employers, like I just stated, and so we're hoping to do a summit that brings together employers and the educators and the job seekers and do different tracks to help educate the community on how to create effective internship programs, touching on a lot of things that Grace and Ted have talked about here today, and also talk about the legal issues around it, which is something that I know a lot of employers, especially small businesses, tend to be concerned about because there are a lot of different questions around Affordable Care Act compliance and paid versus unpaid. And when you do an unpaid internship, you're at a greater risk of possibly engaging in some lawsuits because you have to follow very specific guidelines that have been given by Department of Labor, which seem very ambiguous actually. So that's kind of where we are with this portal, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for everybody to come together and really see what career exploration opportunities can be and how meaningful they can be, and to gather all that information, and then also have a place where we're posting it and we're showing the nation that New Mexico is really taking the next step here and trying to give our young job seekers the opportunities that they need to learn about how to be good employees, and then also they can gather that experience in doing these amazing project-based learning activities. Again, with the materials I provide you, I just wanted to kind of let you know there are the tips. And then internships.com, I don't know if anybody has ever explored that website, but it's an amazing website that has put together an awesome manual, like step by step with even sample forms and everything, creating the job description, how to look at your resources, what kind of projects need to be done that you haven't been able to do or afford to do. And then I gave you some sample offer letters for paid versus unpaid interns. That is a really big deal when you are offering somebody an intern because you're laying out all the guidelines, and it's a big piece of what Department of Labor needs employers to be doing to protect yourself, but in the end it can be such an amazing opportunity, and so many, especially small businesses, become afraid to do it. But if you have the resources to do it, and then you also have the peer-to-peer network to talk about, like what Ted was talking about, talking to the employers in your community that have been doing this, you can see how rewarding it can be, and you can also talk about maybe some issues you're having or some fears about it. And then I did include the Department of Labor fact sheet, which is really important, and then kind of a little checklist that we're putting together. So as you can see, we're gathering content for the website and getting ready to start building it, and a lot of this research has yielded some important information. The University of Wisconsin-La Crosse did a survey recently where they actually sent out fake resumes to employers that were hiring, and they put on half of them an internship experience and the other half no internship experience, but they all had degrees. And the people with degrees got almost nothing, almost no callbacks. Only the internships people with that experience did. And it was a huge awakening, and that this is what these young job seekers are dealing with. And if they can't have these opportunities, we're gonna continue to have problems with unemployment. And this is our opportunity to invest in our workforce and the economic mobility that we need, especially in New Mexico, where we have a lot of poverty and a first-time college students, you know, people in their family that have never navigated that system before. And so when they get to have that opportunity, it does build their confidence, and it really helps them see that there are avenues that they can take in developing a career pathway. And when you have parents, and this is something, Susanna Davenport is here with me as well, and she works in our marketing department with Department of Workforce Solutions, and she is somebody who came out of the internship program through UNM Los Alamos and has been there now for 2 years, and a great success story, and I don't know what we would do without her. But when you have families, you know, where their parents are working like 3 jobs, and they don't have the opportunity to even sit down and help their kids, let alone teach them about what a career pathway is, or going to college and what they're going to need to get done to be successful in their life, it's very daunting. And so if the higher education community and the employers can come together, we can really create amazing opportunities. And that's basically what this portal, you know, is about. It's a way for all of us to come together, and that's kind of the end of my presentation. So thank you for your time today.
Let's take questions for the panel. Anybody got any questions? Yes.
I actually do. Most of my work is dealing with trade skills, not computer stuff.
Right.
I didn't hear anything about trade skills a bit. And that's a big problem in the United States. Who's going to build your house?
Right.
Who's going to maintain your house? We don't have that because everybody wants to work on computers. So how does that benefit me as a small business that's starting? How am I going to find an intern that's going to be able to come in and learn how to deal directly with the customer? You're dealing directly with this person's house and have pride in the work that they've done, knowing that this person's going to be looking at this yard or this painted room or this rebuilt deck for the next 20 years. I mean, it's a lot different than building a computer program and somebody's going to be going on it for whenever. So how does that benefit me? Or is there a program out there set up for something like that?
Well, that's kind of what apprenticeships are really about, but I don't know. What do you guys have to say about it?
Well, take the CIC program. That would be a challenge to us to say, as you search businesses that are willing to offer projects, that we not only recruit technology businesses, but that we recruit businesses that work with vocational skill sets.
Absolutely.
And that our focus, and you bring up a great point, and that our focus is not strictly, you know, just the high-tech perspective. Because there are a lot of people, and we think regionally, we don't think geographically, we think northern New Mexico when we approach this. There are many people that construction is something that they love and that they want to do, though the opportunities haven't presented themselves here. So that would be a way to identify, if you can identify for me students that have that appetite, have that yearning, I'd be happy to find employers who would be willing to offer that experience.
It is very important, beyond the degree, that the kids know about these other types of career pathways and what you're talking about with vocational skills. And it has been an issue. But so part of the deal is and at least from my perspective, we really need this kind of talk to start in high school and even among middle school if we can. I know that's like my pie in the sky dream, but if they're not aware of these opportunities, then they're not gonna know, you know what I mean, that they can do that and that it's important to our community. It's a big deal.
I'd also say that you would be the person to show these students exactly how to talk to these customers, to show them what the customers are looking for. Your modeling would be the best lesson for them. And I can say for certain that there are high school building trades programs, UNM Los Alamos doesn't have any particularly for building trades. We do have some of the other vocational skills. Santa Fe Community College has a lot of them. Northern has a lot of programs. There are students out there who would be desperate for opportunities like that.
Absolutely.
Cindy?
So I own a retail store, and I kind of just wanted to echo what he said too, because there's lots of opportunities, different types of opportunity in retail as well, and I can think of a million different projects that I could put someone on, from helping build, an educational one, from helping build our, I do 3 months of training before anybody's allowed on the store floor, and so helping them flesh that program out, so developing an educational program to learning retail math metrics like number of turns and inventory control issues and things like that, and then applying them to our business. So I can think of lots of different ways, but it's not necessarily the traditional career path. But there's a lot of the retail industry too, drives a lot of the economy, and I'm having a really hard time finding employees. And I think it would be good for me in terms of trying to bring up that next generation of employees. But it's not the typical career path. And in fact, you said something about middle school. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got invited by the middle school
that's
to
great.
go talk to the students on their career exploration day. And the comment that the teacher made to me is like, not every student is gonna go to college, and especially in Los Alamos, there's a lot of pressure. And he wanted them to see that there were other ways to have a career.
UNM Los Alamos actually has a very good Associate of Applied Sciences degree in business, and one particularly in accounting, and I can definitely tell there would be some students interested in some of those projects that you talked about. So there are resources out there, and there are students pursuing those right now.
I'm Diana, I'm with the county, with the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Division. And Jessica, your comment about students and getting interviews, those with internships versus not, we've actually had that experience. We've had some really great applicants come out of college, but yet as we're interviewing them, we're realizing they've had no hands-on experience. And for Parks, Recreation, and Open Space, it always amazes me, because I'm like, how do you know you want to be working in such a customer public service job if you've never been involved?
Right.
So I think this is so interesting. And again, Cindy, I echoed your comment about, we're not a traditional career path either, and one of the reasons I wanted to come here was to see how this would integrate with what we need or what we'd like to be doing, and I think it will. But I do have 2 questions, specifically for my HR department, because as I was asking them about an internship program and what the CIC is offering, their 2 questions were, and you answered a majority of them, so that's good. I don't have 10 questions. Do they have to work in the area related to their study? So is it that, because I know sometimes I've had interns come to me and they're like, well, we want to do this, and then of course my HR department's like, well, how does this relate to the area of study? Does it specifically have to relate, or does it somehow, since it's very project related, it may cover several aspects? And then the other question was, is it covered under is the intern covered under the school insurance in case anything occurs on the job, or is it covered under the employee's insurance?
So this would be through their program specifically.
Right.
So I guess you guys would have to answer those questions.
From my understanding, and this is
Right.
just my understanding as an educator, not strictly from the business side of things, my understanding is that because we have them in a co-op class, it's covered through that, the liability side of it. We do prefer that it's related to their field of study, because that's going to be the best opportunity for them to figure out if that's the field they want. But it's also nice to be able to have some of those transferable skills that can work in several different fields along their educational pathway. They could be going a very broad way, and if it's one part of that, that could still be useful to them through that experience.
And I would add from the business side, we prefer students to apply, and we focus on their area of interest more than their area of study.
Exactly.
Because if their area of interest is great, that's their passion, that's when they're going to do far superior.
And that's what career pathway development is all about. Having the ability to see all the different opportunities and what it feels like to do this and do that. I mean, like Nancy said, I majored in historic preservation, you know, but all my jobs have created these transferable skills that have brought me to here, you know, and it's kind of funny, but.
Yeah, I majored in criminology.
And you're in Parks and Rec. But the internships will definitely, and if they're not through a program, you do have more leeway. You know, if you're not working directly with a school, then yeah, it's really about what that person wants to learn themselves. Yeah.
I wanted to add one comment. I know you guys have mentioned the trade, and I think that's a really, really good point. And just from a student perspective, and I grew up here in Los Alamos, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of sort of the idea that if you get into a trade as opposed to go to school for 7 years and get a degree, and it's not as good. It's not as good of a path. And so, and we're sort of taught that, you know, here in this community. I think in particular that you gotta study and you gotta study hard, and that is the only way. You know, college traditional way, and that's not the case. And I know that now, but I think being young and you don't know that because you have everybody telling you different. And so part, I think, of the change that needs to happen is that, you know, people like Mr. Lopez said, kids, people my age need to have something that this is going to help me. And part of it is just that the opportunity is not known. There's people that want to train people, and there's people that want to be trained in trades, but there's just this gap. You know, I think employers are scared to do it. I think students are scared to jump in, but you know, people like you provide the opportunity. And I think it'd be hard to look for people here, but, you know, trades can't say anything, and, you know, but the opportunity has to be there. And I know a lot of people that would love to work in construction and learn more about, because they have the skills, but they don't have the business skills. And but you're not going to find a whole lot of those in a traditional college setting, because and that's where you hear about it, but I don't even know what I'm trying to say. There are people there, and there are people that want to be trained, but I think the biggest problem is that they don't know about it, and there's not a whole lot of opportunity.
Here's a quick story for you. There's a friend of mine up in Colorado. He put himself through his bachelor's degree working masonry construction, and after he got his bachelor's in forestry science, he started his own masonry company, and now he makes more than $1 million a year running his masonry business. So, construction is a good path.
No, absolutely, and it's just it's interested. It's people want to do what they're really good at, and if there's people saying, you know, hey, I'll train you, you know, there's more opportunity. There'll be more people that will do that.
I actually started in hospice care when I was 15.
Wow.
And so
That's amazing.
I got tired of that, and now I do this. So, you know, it's if you have, what I have found is I have no excuse to be unemployed because I have several different skill sets. Everything from automotive to healthcare to being a handyman. And nowadays in our society, in our economy, you need that. You can't just be a computer programmer. You cannot just be this. You have to have several skill sets. If you do not, the chances of you being successful are very slim. Because once that opportunity is filled, it's done. Once your education has been expired, it's done. Period. There is no more. So for me, having several skill sets, which could also be the downside, is I can't claim I'm unemployed because I can always get a job. And that's reality in life. And growing up as a young one, or being 50 years old,
And just a real quick note, because I know Associated, well, they're more commercial construction AGC, you know, but there's also ABC, and those trade organizations really do work hard at bringing students that want to learn the trades and do internships and apprenticeships. So they're another great resource to go to as well. They're amazing.
So I just have a thought. I am with the CIC program. I've got a student intern right now. I'm a well-being leadership coach here in town. And I've really enjoyed the benefit of having her in my world. And she's enjoyed being with me because she's seeing the most upcoming profession really in the nation, one of the fastest growing professions in the nation, be birthed, right? And so she's able to help me put together material for that. And it's been very much a win-win experience up until now. So I just want to encourage you as small businesses, if you're at all thinking about it, throw your hat in the ring, and it will push you to move to the next level, right? As a small business owner, because you're gonna have to prepare for the student, because you want it to be a good experience for them. And so you need to have the opportunity to have material for them to work on and to step into. And so it's my 2 cents. My 2 cents is worth it for everybody.
And with that, it's a few minutes after 9, so let's wrap up for now.
Maybe one more announcement? Yes, I'm having a job fair here on April 12th. If anyone's interested, 1 to 4, please just contact me. It's free to come. We'll set up a table for you and everything. So just let me know if you have anything you'd like to bring.
Have you contacted the HR department at the county?
I have contacted someone over there, yes.
Okay,
I haven't
good.
received a response yet.